Hello, everybody. I'm Broadzilla. I'm all ready for bed, but not without my story. Here, tonight our first book is going to be called Wait Till the Moon is Full. Let's see the cover here. I remember reading this book when I was little. I always liked the illustrations on here, and it's got raccoons in it. I love raccoons. And it is written by Margaret Wise Brown, and the pictures are by Garth Williams. All right, let's get started. Once upon a time, in the dark of the moon, there was a little raccoon. He lived down a big warm chestnut tree with his mother, who was also a raccoon. The little raccoon wanted to see the night. He had seen the day. So he said to his mother, "I want to go out in the woods and see the night." But his mother said, "Wait till the moon is full." And so he waited, deep in his warm little home under the chestnut tree. Above him he could hear the night wind rustle above his head and clicking the black branches. He couldn't see out, but he could hear out. He heard a bird fall out of its nest and fly away. He heard owls hooting in big trees and silence all around. He said to his mother, "I want to know an owl." But his mother said, wait till the moon is full." "Outside it is very dark," said his mother. "How dark is the dark?" murmured the little raccoon as he clung to his mother's warm side. "Very dark," whispered his mother. "Let me go out and look at the dark," whispered the little raccoon. "Wait," whispered his mother. "Wait till the moon is full." The next night, his mother was late coming home, and the little raccoon sat there wondering to himself. Above, clackety-clack, the little wooden branches clicked together in the wind, and there was sounds of large wings beating the air, and then, scuttle-bump, in came his mother, her pointed ears pulled back on her head. "How dark is the dark tonight?" asked the little raccoon. "Not so dark," said his mother. "There is a new moon tonight, thin as the curve of a raccoon's whisker, in the sky above the treetops." "Can I see it?" asked the little raccoon. "No," said his mother. "You must wait. Wait till the moon is full." "How big is the night?" asked the little raccoon. "Very big," said his mother. "How big is big?" asked the little raccoon. "Wait," said his mother. "Wait till the moon is full." So he waited and grew quietly fat and wondered. He washed his paws and combed his whiskers, and time passed. "How big is the moon tonight?" asked the little raccoon. "A half moon," said his mother, "big as the curve of a raccoon's ear." "Where is it?" asked the little raccoon. "Halfway up the sky," said his mother. "I want to see it," said the little raccoon. "Wait," said his mother. "Wait till the moon is full." And his mother began to sing. She sang a raccoon song about the night and the moon. "Soft in the night, in the bright moonlight, rabbits run all through the night, and never bump into each other in the full of the moon, when the moon is full. And the cat and the cow and the fish and the bull dance an animal dance when the moon is full, with the owl and the squirrel and the skunk and the gull, and the little bird cries from over the hill, "Whip-poor-will, whip-poor-will, my little raccoon, be still, and wait till the moon is full." "Does everyone sleep at night?" said the little raccoon. "No," said his mother, "not everyone." "Who doesn't?" asked the little raccoon. "All things that love the night," said his mother. "Wait till the moon is full." "Is the moon a rabbit?" asked the little raccoon. "No," said his mother. "The moon is a moon, a big round golden moon." "Will I see it soon?" "Wait," said his mother. "Wait till the moon is full." "Is the night blue or black or red or white?" asked the little raccoon all at once. And because his mother couldn't answer all his questions all at once, she sang him another song. "When the moon has turned its back, then the night is big and black, dark, dark in the dark of the moon. But when the moon is thin and new, then you'll see the night turn blue, 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 and the moon is new. Long after rabbits are safe in bed, the moon sits low and red, red, red when the moon is low. But wait till the bright moonlight bursts on the night all silvery white. Wait till the moon is full." "I want to see a bird fall out of its nest and fly away in the moonlight," said the little raccoon. "Wait," said his mother. "Wait till the moon is full." "And find another little raccoon to play with." "Wait," said his mother. "Wait till the moon is full." So one day the little raccoon looked up at his mother and said, "See here, my big warm mother, can I go now out in the woods and see the night?" And his mother said, "If you want to go out in the woods and see the night and know an owl, and how dark is the dark, and see the moon, and how big is the night, and listen to the whippoorwill, and stay up all night and sleep all day, and see that the moon isn't a rabbit, and what color is the night, and see a bird fall out of its nest and fly away in the moonlight, and find another little raccoon to play with, off you go, for the moon is full." There's this really cute picture of the little raccoon out playing baseball with another raccoon and what looks like a family of rabbits. So cute. So flippin' cute. Alright, now next up we are going to continue with The Magician's Nephew. Give me just a moment to get myself situated. All right, here we go. This is Chapter 11. Diggory and his uncle are both in trouble. You may think the animals were very stupid not to see at once that Uncle Andrew was the same kind of creature as the two children and the cabby. But you must remember that the animals knew nothing about clothes. They thought that Polly's frock and Diggory's Norfolk suit and the cabby's bowler hat were as much parts of them as their own fur and feathers. They wouldn't have known even that those three were all the same kind if they hadn't spoken to them, and if Strawberry had not seemed to think so. And Uncle Andrew was a great deal taller than the children and a good deal thinner than the cabby. He was all in black except for his white waistcoat, not very white by now, and the great gray mop of his hair, now very wild indeed, didn't look to them like anything they had seen in the 3 other humans, so it was only natural that they should be puzzled. Worst of all, he didn't seem to be able to talk. He had tried to, but the bulldog, when the bulldog spoke to him, or as he thought, first snarled and then growled at him, he held out his shaking hand and gasped, "Good doggy, then, poor old fellow." But the beasts could not understand him any more than he could understand them. They didn't hear any words, only a vague sizzling noise. Perhaps it was just as well they didn't, for no dog I ever knew, least of all a talking dog of Narnia. Oh, hi. This is Sam. Shoot. Perhaps it was just as well they didn't, for no dog I ever knew, least of all a talking dog of Narnia, likes being called a good doggy then, any more than you would like being called my little man. Then Uncle Andrew dropped down in a dead faint. "There," said a warthog, "it's only a tree." "I always thought so." Remember, they had never yet seen a faint or even a fall. The bulldog, who had been sniffing Uncle Andrew all over, raised its head and said, "It's an animal. Certainly an animal, and probably the same kind as those other ones." "I don't see that," said one bear. "An animal wouldn't just roll over like that. We're animals, and we don't roll over. We stand up like this." He rose to his hind legs and took a step backwards, tripped over a low branch, and fell flat on his back. "The third joke, the third joke, the third joke," said the jackdaw in great excitement. "I still think it's a sort of tree," said the warthog. "If it is a tree," said the other bear, "there might be a bee's nest in it." "I'm sure it's not a tree," said the badger. "I had a sort of idea it was trying to speak before it toppled over." "That was only the wind in its branches," said the warthog. "You surely don't mean," said the jackdaw to the badger, "that you think it's a talking animal? It didn't say any words." "And yet, you know," said the elephant, the she-elephant, of course. Her husband, as you remember, had been called away by Aslan. "And yet, you know, it might be an animal of some kind. Mightn't the whitish lump at the end be a sort of face? And couldn't those holes be eyes and a mouth? No nose, of course, but then, one mustn't be narrow-minded. Very few of us have what could exactly be called a nose." She squinted down the length of her own trunk with pardonable pride. "I object to that remark very strongly," said the bulldog. "The elephant is quite right," said the tapir. "I tell you what," said the donkey brightly, "perhaps it's an animal that can't talk but thinks it can." "Can it be made to stand up?" said the elephant thoughtfully. She took the limp form of Uncle Andrew gently in her trunk and set him up on end, upside down, unfortunately, so that 2 half-sovereigns and 3 half-crowns, a sixpence, fell out of his pocket. But it was no use. Uncle Andrew merely collapsed again. "There," said several voices. "It isn't an animal at all. It's not alive." "I tell you it is an animal," said the bulldog. "Smell it for yourself." "Smelling isn't everything," said the elephant. "Why," said the bulldog, "if a fellow can't trust his nose, what's he to trust?" "Well, his brains, perhaps," she replied mildly. "I object to that remark very strongly," said the bulldog. "We must do something about it," said the elephant, "because it may be the Nevil, and it must be shown to Aslan. What do most of us think? Is it an animal or some kind of tree?" "Tree, tree," said a dozen voices. "Very well," said the elephant. "Then if it's a tree, it wants to be planted. We must dig a hole." The two moles settled to that part of the business pretty quickly. There was some dispute as to which way up Uncle Andrew ought to be put into the hole, and he had a very narrow escape of being put in head foremost. Several animals said his legs must be his branches, and therefore the gray fluffy thing, they meant his head, must be his root. But then others said that the forked end of him was the muddier, and that it spread out more, as roots ought to do. And so finally he was planted right way up. When they had patted down the earth, it came up above his knees. "It looks dreadfully withered," said the donkey. "Of course it wants some watering," said the elephant. "I think I might say, meaning no offense to anyone present, that perhaps for that sort of work my kind of nose—" "I object to that remark very strongly," said the bulldog. But the elephant walked quietly to the river, filled her trunk with water, and came back to attend to Uncle Andrew. The sagacious animal went on doing this till gallons of water had been squirted over him, and water was running out the skirts of his frock coat, as if he'd been for a bath with all his clothes on. In the end it revived him. He awoke from his faint. What a awakening it was! But we must leave him to think over his wicked deeds, if he was likely to do anything so sensible, and turn to more important things. Strawberry trotted on with Diggory on his back till the noise of the other animals died away, and now the little group of Aslan and his chosen counselors was quite close. Oh, one sec, cat drama. Shoot. No. Go on. You, up or down? Come on, up or down? Up or down? Okay. Sorry about that. Diggory knew that he couldn't possibly break in on so solemn a meeting, but there was no need to do so. At a word from Aslan, the he-elephant, the ravens, and all the rest of them drew aside. Diggory slipped off the horse and found himself face to face with Aslan, and Aslan was bigger and more beautiful, and more brightly golden, and more terrible than he had thought. He dared not look into the great eyes. "Please, Mr. Lion, Aslan, sir," said Diggory, may I please, will you give me some magic fruit of this country to make my mother well?" He had been desperately hoping that the lion would say yes. He had been horribly afraid it might say no, but he was taken aback when it did neither. "This is the boy," said Aslan, looking not at Diggory, but at his counselors. "This is the boy who did it." "Oh dear," thought Diggory, "what have I done now?" "Son of Adam," said the lion, "there is an evil witch abroad in my new land of Narnia. Let these good beasts know how she came here." A dozen different things that he might say flashed through Diggory's mind, but he had the sense to say nothing except the exact truth. "I brought her, Aslan," he said in a low voice. "For what purpose?" "I wanted to get her out of my own world and back to her own. I thought it was taking her back to her own place." "How came she to be in your world, son of Adam?" By magic." The lion said nothing, and Diggory knew that he had not told enough. "It was my uncle, Aslan," he said. "He sent us out of our own world by magic rings. At least, I had to go because he sent Polly first. And then we met the witch in a place called Charn, and she just held on to us when—" "You met the witch?" said Aslan in a low voice, which had the threat of a growl in it. "She woke up," said Diggory wretchedly, and then, turning very white, I woke her, because I wanted to know what would happen if I struck a bell. Polly didn't want to. It wasn't her fault. I fought her. I know I shouldn't have. I think I was a bit enchanted by the writing under the bell." "Do you?" asked Aslan, still speaking very low and deep. "No," said Diggory. "I see now I wasn't. I was only pretending." There was a long pause, and Diggory was thinking all the time, "I've spoiled everything. There's no chance of getting anything for Mother now." When the lion spoke again, it was not to Diggory. "You see, friends," he said, "that before the new clean world I gave you is 7 hours old, a force of evil has already entered it, waked and brought hither by this son of Adam." The beasts, even Strawberry, all turned their eyes on Diggory, until he felt that he wished the ground would swallow him up. "But do not be cast down," said Aslan, still speaking to the beasts. Evil will come of that evil, but it is still a long way off, and I will see to it that the worst falls upon himself. In the meantime, let us take such order that for many 100 years yet this shall be a merry land, in a merry world. And as Adam's race has done the harm, Adam's race shall help to heal it. Draw near, you other two." The last words were spoken to Polly and the cabby, who had now arrived. Polly, all eyes and mouth, was staring at Aslan and holding the cabby's hand rather tightly. The cabby gave one glance at the lion, took off his bowler hat. No one had yet seen him without it. When it was off, he looked younger and nicer, and more like a countryman and less like a London cabby. "Son," said Aslan to the cabby, "I have known you long. Do you know me?" "Well, no, sir," said the cabby, "leastways not in an ordinary manner of speaking. Yet I feel somehow, if I may make so free, as to how we've met before." "It is well," said the lion. "You know better than you think you know, and you shall live to know me better yet. How does this land please you?" "It's a fair treat, sir," said the cabby. "Would you like to live here always?" "Well, you see, sir, I'm a married man," said the cabby. "If my wife were here, neither of us would ever want to go back to London, I reckon. We're both country folk, really." Aslan threw up his shaggy head and opened his mouth, and uttered a long single note, not very loud, but full of power. Polly's heart jumped in her body when she heard it. She felt sure that it was a call, and that anyone who heard the call would want to obey it, and, what's more, would be able to obey it. However, many worlds and ages lay between, and so, though she was filled with wonder, she was not really astonished or shocked when all of a sudden a young woman with a kind, honest face stepped out of nowhere and stood beside her. Polly knew at once that it was the cabby's wife, fetched out of our world, and not by any some tiresome magic rings, but quickly, simply, and sweetly, as a bird flies to its nest. The young woman had apparently been in the middle of a washing day, for she wore an apron, and her sleeves were rolled up to the elbow, and there were soap suds on her hands. If she had time to put on her good clothes, her best hat had imitation cherries on it, she would have looked dreadful. As it was, she looked rather nice. Of course, she thought she was dreaming. That was why she didn't rush across to her husband and ask what on earth had happened to them both. But when she looked at the lion, she didn't feel quite so sure that it was a dream, yet for some reason she did not appear to be very frightened. Then she dropped a little half-curtsy, as some country girls still know how to do in those days. After that, she went and put her hand in the cabby's, and stood there looking round and round her a little shyly. "My children," said Aslan, fixing his eyes on them both, "you are to be the first king and queen of Narnia." The cabby opened his mouth in astonishment, and his wife turned very red. "You shall rule and name all these creatures, and do justice among them, and protect them from their enemies when enemies arise. And enemies will arise, for there is an evil witch in this world. The cabby swallowed hard 2 or 3 times and cleared his throat. "Begging your pardon, sir," he said, "and thanking you very much, I'm sure, which my missus does the same. But I ain't no sort of chap for a job like that. I never had much education, you see." "Well," said Aslan, "can you use a spade and plough and raise food out of the earth?" "Yes, sir, I could do a bit of that sort of work. Been brought up to it, like." "Can you rule these creatures kindly and fairly, remembering that they are not slaves like the dumb beasts of the world you were born in, but talking beasts and free subjects?" "I see that, sir," replied the cabby. Let's see. "I see that, sir," replied the cabby. "I'd try to do the square thing by them all. And would you bring up your children and grandchildren to do the same?" "It'd be up to me to try, sir. I'd do my best, wouldn't we, Nellie?" "And you wouldn't have favorites among your own children, or among the other creatures, or let any hold another under, or use it hardly? I never could abide such goings-on, sir, and that's the truth. I'd give 'em what for if I caught 'em at it," said the cabby. All through this conversation his voice was growing slower and richer, more like the country voice he must have had as a boy, and less like the sharp, quick voice of a cockney. "And if enemies came against the land, for enemies will arise, and there was war, would you be the first in the charge and the last in the retreat?" "Well, sir," said the cabby very slowly, "a chap don't exactly know till he's tried. I dare say I might turn out ever such a soft un. Never did no fighting except with my fists. I'd try, that is. I hope I'd try. I'd do my bit." "Then," said Aslan, "you will have done all that a king should do. Your coronation will be held presently, and you and your children and your grandchildren shall be blessed, and some will be kings of Narnia, and others will be kings of Archenland, which lie yonder over the southern mountains. And you, little daughter," here he turned to Polly, "are welcome. Have you forgiven the boy for the violence he did you in the Hall of Images, in the desolate place of accursed Charn?" "Yes, Aslan, we've made up," said Polly. "That is well," said Aslan. "And now for the boy himself." All right. And since I got started a little late, I'm unfortunately going to have to leave that here. We're going to end up running over time. But, yeah. I hope y'all had fun tonight. And I will be back tomorrow night with the next chapters. But until then, sweet dreams, everybody.